This is Phil Roos, CEO of GrowthWorks. Today we're talking to long-term colleague and friend of GrowthWorks, Jennifer Spainhour. I'm just really excited to have her here with me. Jen is in the unique position of having years of experience as a well-respected consumer insights and consulting professional who also, like me, grew up in the consumer packaged goods industry. But over the past couple of years, she's launched a very successful life and leadership coaching practice. And I just thought it'd be really interesting to have her share some of what she is learning from helping her clients chart their future in the time of COVID. Welcome, Jen. Thank you for being here and being part of this series of explorations that we're doing.
Yeah, so happy to be here, Phil. Thanks for inviting me. I feel like I could talk for a while about this, but I'll try to be brief.
You just say what's on your mind. Well, just to kick us off, could you just give us a quick overview of the nature of the life and leadership coaching work you're doing, and that'll be a good place to start.
Sure, I'd love to. So I started a business I call Position for Success Coaching and Consulting. And the reason I called it that and branding it that way is because whether I'm working with a company, doing research, trying to help their products be successful or their employees be successful, or I may be working with an individual who's a leader in the organization and trying to either like level up for a new promotion, maybe they're thinking about other career choices, but really looking to find ways to help position my clients for success. So it's been a lot of fun to do that. It's very satisfying. And so I've been speaking with a lot of one-on-one clients. I've been hosting some virtual events. I've done a little bit of online research myself within my community. I've been kind of bringing together some themes as we go through this COVID journey together.
Well, it's maybe not the happiest time in the world right now, but I bet it's an interesting time to be doing that kind of work. And I just kind of curious, have you started to see people changing the way they view their future? Because they're coming to you trying to help shape a new future, and most of them probably started before all of this began. And have you seen an impact there in just what their worldview looks like and how they see themselves within that?
Right, absolutely. And I have an interesting cross section of individuals I work with. Some of them are entrepreneurs or self-employed. Others are employed corporate people. And the word that is coming, there's two thoughts I have to your question. One is the word is pivot. I feel like I've
heard that one before.
Yeah, the business
word is ubiquitous now, doesn't it?
2020, the theme is how do we pivot? And so whether that's a company looking to its employees and the leaders within their company to figure out how they pivot in a way that's relevant and also, sensitive and aware. But then the self-employed people looking at it as an opportunity to really double down on their business, maybe pivot if they see a different opportunity in the market. But I see both, whether it be corporate or self-employed, it's around innovation. It's really about how do we reinvent ourselves and create some new innovative solutions given what is happening in the marketplace. And that's exciting. That's where you get some of the positive momentum going. But everyone's working hard. It's a lot of work to pivot and it's exhausting, but there's some hope there. And the second part that I would just say is in terms of the work involved, long-term, I'm going to do the air quotes, long-term planning is a challenge right now, whether it be for your company or for yourself. There's a lot of contingency planning, a lot of recognizing that we don't know what the future holds and don't have as much control as maybe we thought. For those who are doing it for an employer, they may be having to double the amount of work to plan two separate scenarios that may unfold in the future, which is, that's just a difficult thing. I think for individuals, it's hard to look too far into the future right now. And, one of my clients had this great quote that I think I shared with you before, which is, looking forward, how can I look forward? Forward is Friday. It's not, you know, my career goals 5 years from now. Forward is Friday. So I think there's, you know, and more thinking about how do I just survive through this right now and come out of it, hopefully in a good place and maybe even a better place. But what's happening 1 to 3 to 5 years from now, I don't know. So certainly seeing that.
I think most of us can relate to that. Well, since we're all in the business of trying to figure out what does the future look like, what might the new normal look like, is there anything that you have seen that could be kind of an early signal of what we might be facing, or what the world we're going to be looking at a few months into the future whenever we emerge from this?
Right. Well, certainly there are a few things I feel will likely stick. And then I'll share those, and then I'll talk about what that might mean for this new normal. So I do see that people are reinvesting in themselves. So, you know, whether that be in themselves personally or professionally, they're looking to people like professional coaches. They might be doing online skill building of some sort. They're taking advantage of the opportunity to reinvest in themselves. They're understanding that, you know, the long-term fate of their job and their employment is less secure. So they're kind of doubling down on themselves. And I think that will continue, because I think that once you kind of get into the mind frame of I am my own brand and what have I been doing, you know, we get so caught up in our day-to-day lives when we're busy, and this kind of collective pause has given some people the renewed energy to focus on themselves. A second one is just the whole online. Of course, everyone's talking about this, will online stay or not? I think there's an opportunity for the online learning and kind of accessible knowledge sharing, whether it be the conferences we might have been attending or workshops and that sort of thing. The beauty of it is that it really can open up the reach to so many more people. And I feel make it more accessible, because not only are the, you know, the companies who are producing that content are bringing their costs, they're bringing the price down because it's a virtual event. Their costs are lower. There aren't the travel investments. It's easier to take advantage of some of those opportunities. So I think that some of that will continue. However, it's clear that virtual, we all have the Zoom fatigue, and I think that I don't see it going completely virtual, but certainly some opportunity for that to continue. I also think that all of this has kind of brought us back to asking ourselves what our real priorities are. And I don't really think people are just going to let go of that. I think that, you know, time at home with family, the connections we've been having to work harder to make, we're really grateful for those connections and those people in our lives. And the importance of that, and finding a way to make that work within our career life is going to continue to be important. And let's see, the last one I had here was reinvention. It goes a little bit back to the reinvestment in yourself, but again, whether it's a company or an individual, I see there continually being now like a more open and innovative mindset to, you know, not just doing business as usual, but really working towards how do we meet the needs, the new needs and the new challenges of the marketplace. So that's kind of what I see sticking. And then in terms of what the new normal might look like, of course, that's difficult to say, but one thing I do feel will be something that we'll see is just a greater value being put on experiences and connections, and maybe less on stuff. You know, I think that people are right now coming out of this and into the future wanting to reconnect as things start to open up, for brands and companies to think about how to create experiences for people rather than just adding more stuff. You know, I'm hoping that there's an opportunity in corporate that, you know, maybe there is some more open mind thinking around flexible work styles. and meeting employees where they are with life beyond the corporate walls, and you know, being more open to some flexibility there. And then all of us just need to stay more nimble. I think that's the last thing, is just how do we all kind of stay more nimble going forward? We're going through this massive amount of change. So now in the future, I think it's going to make other things relatively seem not so scary. So how do we kind of learn to adapt, come out of this with a better sense of adapting to change and being nimble to go for new opportunities?
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's some lessons we're all getting from this, and while it's not without its challenges, just some of the things you mentioned, there's some pretty exciting possibilities once we figure out how to navigate the current situation. And
we're definitely not out of the woods yet, but you know, I do think there are some bright sides that will come out of this.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate you sharing a little bit of your perspective, and I think that's some really exciting work to be doing right now, is helping others through this journey and figuring out what's in it for them, where are they going on the other side of it. How do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about your practice?
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, which is www.positionforsuccess.com, or you can directly find me on LinkedIn is a great place, Jennifer Spainhour. And you can also email me at Jen, at positionforsuccess.com. I would love to talk more. I feel like I have, you know, there's much more around the emotions and things, and would be happy to continue the conversation in other ways.
Great. And if none of those methods work, I can find a way to track her down. So
that's true.
Jen, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and continue the great work you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.